welcome to Turning Point. This perhaps is one of the biggest matches of the tournament. India taking on South Africa at Eden Gardens. India are unbeaten in the tournament, having won 7 matches on the trot. South Africa has won 6 out of 7. The only time they dropped was against Netherlands. Both teams have been on a roll. Well, the occasion is special as well as it is Virat Kohli's 35th birthday. Will he strike his 100 number 49, the record that every Indian fan has been waiting for? Both teams are in Eden right now, raring to go and exploit each other's weaknesses. These are the top 2 teams in the competition. India at number 1 and South Africa there at number 2. Australia, New Zealand and Pakistan make up the top half of the table. Let's also look at the bottom half of the table. Afghanistan up there, followed by Sri Lanka, Netherlands, Bangladesh and England. The defending champions are right at the bottom. I have with me my 2 guests on the show, former Indian cricketers Sabah Karim and Vijay Daya. Sabah, could this be the dress rehearsal for the World Cup final? Of course, they have to reach the final, both the teams.
Yeah, it looks like it, because both the teams have played some excellent cricket, except for that one setback of South Africa versus Netherlands clash. Both teams have been in prime form. India, the kind of combination they've had and the kind of combination they've played with, all of them have performed so well. So India is in a very healthy space as of now, and they would be looking forward to this all-important clash at the league stage. Eden, most of the cricketers have played there before. They know the conditions quite well. And I think India is very well balanced to take on South Africa at this stage. But I'm glad that you showed the points table, Rika.
So the points table.
So it is also important that whoever qualifies for the semi-finals here. But I think the other important area to be looked at is the top 8 teams will qualify for the 2025 Champions Trophy. So in that sense, if you look at the points table, it's so difficult to accept that England is lying right at the bottom, which means that if they do not win any more games from here, they may well not qualify for the Champions Trophy. So I think for the teams that are placed at the bottom right now, they need to work very hard so that at least they qualify for the Champions Trophy.
You know, he mentioned about teams at the bottom, but I think if England wins another game, Pakistan is out. One of the matches that probably I want as an Indian fan to go Pakistan's way is that match, so that they reach the semi-final.
You want another India-Pakistan game, like so many other are actually waiting for that game.
And I'm actually sitting with my calculator and seeing what is.
But there's another interesting bit when we talk about this Champions League that you're saying.
Champions Trophy, yes.
It's Champions Trophy. It's 7 plus the host side.
So Pakistan, in any case, have qualified.
Pakistan, any case. So is there a case, because when you say 7 plus 1, if they are the host and they're qualifying, you know, is there a bit of
top 8 teams.
Yeah, top 8 teams. And England, I think somehow there'll be an extra motivation as far as England is concerned to be there. But the way they are playing right now, it's a sad. You know, you wanted. Anyways, we were saying it's going to be a 6-team tournament, and England's struggling big time. Somehow Afghanistan is stepped up and they are playing a good cricket, but it's sad to see the way England is played so far.
Okay, Vijay, we have news from the centre. India has won the toss and elected to bat first. Would you say they are testing the South Africans here? The South African.
No, I think it says a lot about the pitch as well. We have not seen it, but this is a first indication that kind of surface we are playing on. It's gonna slow down a bit. It's gonna help the spinners, because although our fast bowlers have done really well, but you won't play that sort of a gamble if India got any say about the pitches. That play on a surface which will help the fast bowlers, but you can definitely play on that punt where you'll play on a surface which will slow down a bit and have this confidence in that Indian batting that they can counter their spinners. So this is the first indication about that this pitch is not going to stay the same. It's going to turn as the game goes on.
Sabah, that brings me to the question that we've been after Hardik Pandya was out of the tournament. We've been with 5 bowlers. Today is the day. Do you think that a sixth bowler's duty has to be performed between 2 of our other bowlers?
I hope not, Rika. More so because India is batting as of now. So I think if India can post a big score, and then I think our 5 bowlers would suffice to defend that kind of a score. But I think this surface is on the slower side, and that's the kind of indication which one can make out from the decision taken by Rohit Sharma, because Rohit has got very clear ideas in terms of his decision making at the point of toss. And I think India, that is why has preferred to bat first, which means that they're looking to get to a decent score, maybe to a mark close to about 300. And I think that should help India to defend. Having said that, a huge responsibility on India's top order batter to set the right kind of platform, because they're up against a very strong pace bowling attack from the South African side. They have Marco Jansen, who is a much improved bowler now. Rabada, they have Gerald Coetzee, who has this talent of picking wickets. Then they also have 2 spinners, in case they go with 2 spinners in the 11.
How many runs you expect on this?
I'm looking at, very difficult for us to comment from here. We can only speculate, Rika. So if one can see the first maybe about 8 to 9 overs, and one gets into a better position. But the fact that Rohit decided to bat first, which means the wicket will be on the slower side, then I'm looking at a score of maybe 290, 300 should be a very good challenging target on a track like this.
Also, Vijay, now that India is going to be bowling second, dew is going to be a factor in Gardens, sunsets early. Wouldn't that be a little bit of a disadvantage to the
I think both the teams had a couple of sessions there, so they keep that in mind as well. They do that spray thing, before every game, especially on the grounds where you feel that you can be a factor. But they have calculated everything and keeping all those things in mind, and that's the reason why they have just gone down there to bat first. If it comes, it comes. It's a decision they have taken, so they have to counter that in case dew comes in.
It's about 100,000 people at Eden Gardens. We don't know how many outside. What is that one thing or a couple of things that India, going into the semi-final really wants to be challenged at this point? Because this is the last team that's going to challenge them in any way, if at all. Nothing against Netherlands. All respect, due respect to him.
Yes, well, India's middle order, they would be tested. Maybe India would look to kind of perform in a way that bolsters their middle order, lower middle order. Top order again, because of the opposition, the kind of bowling attack South Africa has. In bowling in these conditions, in case there is dew, then how does India cope with that? Because then it gets increasingly difficult. But more and more one has noticed that most of the teams now practice according to that. They practice with a wet ball so that they are able to understand the whole dynamics of control and discipline when you're bowling second with that kind of dew. So there are these 2-3 areas where India would love to see batters come good. And I'm looking at the comparison of both the sides, and I think we discussed that in the Hindi show, Rika, that the lower middle order, it seems that South Africa has an edge because they have David Miller and they have Henrik Klaasen.
So from Quinton to Klaasen.
Yeah, and I think all of them are very aggressive players, except for maybe Van Dusen, who takes some time. He comes in number 3. Then Aiden Markram also. He's a conventional kind of a player, but extremely effective. And then followed up by Klaasen and David Miller. So they do have a very strong batting. But at this stage, India would be more focused on how to encounter South Africa's pace bowling attack initially, especially with the new ball.
Vijay, South Africa does have a very strong batting, but can they really challenge the Indian bowling the way they have been in the last few matches?
Rika, it's not that they have a good batting lineup, they have a batting lineup which is in form. That's more important. Sometimes when you look at a lot of teams, they have that potential, but what they have done in this tournament, you look at the England side, they have the potential, they have done really well in the past, but the current form doesn't suggest that. But the plus point that South African side has got that, they're in red hot form, they all have contributed. Marco Jansen also got a couple of very aggressive innings. He's got the ability to hit the ball, hit the long ball. So they have that, and especially when you are in that sort of a form, your confidence is completely different. And how many times we have talked about this South African side being chokers, being a confident side, and I think this lot, have this opportunity to get rid of that chokers tag, especially because they want to get rid of it. Unless until they win something big, people will keep talking about it. People will keep bringing them. That was the first question when in the press conference when they asked Bamuma about the choker thing, and I think he just laughed it off. He said, "We won 6 games out of 7. What are you talking about?" So that thing will keep coming back. But team in form and the whole batting unit have contributed in big numbers. So that's a plus point with the South African side at the moment.
Yes,
And Rika, they have benched Gerald Coetzee and they're
Yeah.
playing Tabraiz Shamsi.
which
And that is a clear reflection of the fact that the wicket will aid spinners, which means it will be on the slower side. And as the day progresses, as the match progresses, there is a strong possibility that the wicket may deteriorate further. So that is why both the sides have got two spinners in the 11, and that is a big call from South Africa. So they have Rabada, they have Marco Jansen, and they've gone ahead with Lungi and Gidi, and then they have the two spinners. Both spinners capable of picking wickets. So I think there is a lot of similarity in the way both the sides have read the wicket, and accordingly they have chosen the combination.
And,
yes,
and
yes,
sorry,
please.
and add Makram as well. You know, he's good enough bowler to bowl a couple of overs with his off spinners as well. So they have as far as bowlers for the condition as well.
Sabha, Vijay very interestingly spoke about the chokers tag and how they want
His conversation was always very interesting, Rika, so it was not the first time.
how they want to overcome the
Yes,
chokers tag.
yes.
Do you think that the South African team is best placed this time around, given that there isn't much of a baggage of expectations on this team? Because
Absolutely right. I think you have used the right word there, Rika. There's no baggage whatsoever. And I think this side is high on confidence, led admirably by Bavuma, although he has not been among runs, but it seems as he's got the whole side together. And they have some great performers. And I think all this tag of chokers and they have not done well, all that is in the past. So we can say the same thing about India. The India and semi-finals encounters and the last two occasions, India has also
haven't,
not
yeah.
performed. So I think at this stage, it is more of the way the media talks, but I think the playing 11 or the team, they don't even look at those areas. I mean, they are more bothered about or more focused on the game that is coming up, more focused on their own game plan and executing those game plans. But this side, they have very competent players who can jolly well continue to do the kind of work they have done so far in this tournament.
Vijay, now this is a question that most Indian fans will ask you, given that you have shared the dressing room with Quinton de Kock.
Yep.
Give us some insights into that man's mind, thought process right now. 535 runs in the tournament. What is he thinking?
Fishing and golf. You ask him, he's the last one. They were asking about the practice and everything. He said, no, I skipped most of the practice session. He's mentally phenomenal and he's one of its kind. I mean, a lot of people talk about his batting, Rika, but his glove work is phenomenal. He's one of the best in the world at the moment with his glove work as well. Mentally very strong. He enjoys the game, up for a challenge anytime. And at this time, there's no pressure in sense that he's already.
Is it because he's playing his last tournament that he's kind of unhinged in a way that?
No, he's that kind of character, honestly. But he's been talking about this for a really long time, that he wants to play all the other leagues all over the world for whatever maybe the reason.
Become a freelancer.
Yes, that's the word actually. But he's somebody who's always up for a challenge. He's somebody always give you that sort of impression that okay, I'm there and I'm going to go out there and what I'm looking forward is Bumrah versus him.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
that's and he talked about it. He said that we have shared the same dressing room. He'll be fighting for his side and I'll be going out there and punching the first punch for my side. This is how I'm gonna see this. But this is what that the battle that I'm looking for between those two. But what a guy to have in your side. There's no doubt about that. It doesn't take any pressure, and sometimes you want that kind of people in your dressing room, that somebody who's done really well. You can have a lot of people in the dressing room who's not done anything and give you an impression that there's no pressure. But having somebody like him in the dressing room who goes out there and make things simple for you, he won't talk much.
What way does he make it simple for you?
He won't talk much, but one advice here and there and at the right time, he'll tell you that. He's that kind of person. And if something is happening, he'll get hit. Most of the people will call for a help, or most of the people will call, want to get out or something like that. He won't go. I remember last year, SAT20, that tournament started. Before that, he was playing with a broken thumb. Nothing on his face. And when we talked about broken thumb, he said, what? It's okay. I'm fine. It was in a cast for 3 days, took it off, and didn't come out even, for the wicket keeping. He's such a character, mentally unbelievably strong, enjoys his game. But if you want to have a cricketing conversation with him, they'll be very, very limited. I mean, like, he's got other things to talk about.
Fishing and golf.
How is he?
Love
How is
it.
he, Vijay, as a wicket keeper? Not in terms of quality, but his contribution on the field, behind the stumps. Does he offer advice and suggestions to the captain or to the bowlers?
Yes, very much. And if you look at him, if there is a misfield, there is a bad throw, his body language is completely there, because he demands by giving. You know, it's not that he's demanding and not giving. He's somebody who will give 110% and then ask for 100%. So
Very nice.
he's that kind of character. I really love his presence.
He remains always very
Sabha,
calm.
that brings me to a question. Is he a captain that South Africa has missed?
Because I don't know him personally, but through his performance, yes. But I think he's such a calm person because he does not engage in too many conversations.
Right.
I'm not too sure whether.
I tried to interview him once, and it was very, very, very difficult to get an interview.
So that is
going
why I
with
think
him.
in South Africa I've opted for someone like Markram whenever Bavuma is not available. I think in T20 it is Markram who leads the side because maybe he's more vocal, he gets everybody together. I think de Kock is more on his own, kind of aloof. So I think the South African selectors have preferred to go with someone like Aiden Markram instead of de Kock, or even with Bavuma.
Not a captain material at all.
No?
No offense, but he's not. I mean, like what Sabha is saying, you need.
Why would you say so?
Because as a leader, you need somebody to be more involved. You know, you are phenomenal in your skill and everything.
But he works in silos?
Yes, that's the thing. I mean, like, no, everything for him, if you want to sit with him and tell what is your plan after 5 overs, he'll say 5 overs, I'm not even thinking, I'm not there. I'm just going by 1 over or something like that. Captain needs to be, 2 overs ahead of the game. He's not that kind of character, and that's the reason why when he was leading, he was feeling the pressure, and suddenly he realized that I don't want to lead the international side. So unfortunately he's not cut out to be in that
Which
shoe.
also raises a very pertinent question, that do we always go for the best performer to become the captain, or are we looking at someone who may not be the best performer but who has more captaincy material and who has those leadership skills? Mostly I think in Asian countries you will notice we always go with the best performer, but going ahead we may see some change there.
Sabha, we are talking about leaders, and I cannot not talk about Rohit Sharma, his favorite ground, Eden Gardens. Do you think he will feel any pressure to go out there? I mean, be in the middle?
I don't think so. He's not that kind of a player, or not that kind of a captain at all. I think he's so composed, very calm, and I think that is why he's able to take sensible decisions even while batting or even while leading the side. The way he's been able to pick the right kind of combination, all that bodes very well for the Indian side. In his batting, he has shown all his colleagues the way that he wants the entire side to play. Aggressive, very bold, more in the face kind of cricket, and I think that's what all the players have displayed so far. And I think all that is due to Rohit Sharma, and I've said this before, this 11 is Rohit Sharma's 11 because he has backed them, and I think that trust has helped the entire side to grow in terms of individual performances and also the unity that we see in the side.
Virat Kohli, he turns 35, but that's not the number everyone's talking about. The one that everyone is interested in is his 49th ODI century, going past the master. When is that coming? Whether that is coming in Eden Gardens or not, that's something we are waiting for. But really, Sabha, Virat wouldn't really be thinking about his 100 number 49, or what is it? Birthday, special occasion, would everyone, how does the cricket universe function? Will everyone from the waiter in the hotel to the bus driver, everyone will be talking to him about that?
I'm sure they'll be doing that, but I don't think it's going to affect Virat to that extent. He knows the importance of the occasion. I think this is the time for him to enjoy his birthday. He turns 35, and the kind of maturity which he has shown, it means that he understands the kind of responsibility he has, and I think at this stage he's more focused on doing well for the national side. I think in the game where he got a century also, he expressed this to KL Rahul, who was at the other end, that it may not look good if I continue to play only for my 100. So I think he has got into that kind of a space where he wants to play a very selfless kind of game, which was always helpful for the side. And I think today also will be one such occasion where he would love to contribute as much as possible, be it as a fielder, I hopefully not as a bowler, and more of a batter.
What has Rahul Dravid called him? A swinging...
wrong-footed in-swing menace. apt description by Rahul Dravid, isn't it?
He's looking at him as a sixth bowler, perhaps. But Vijay, I'll have to ask you: is it the best time to be this time of life? Is it the best time to be an athlete, in the sense that is this the best time of an athlete's career between 30 and say 40?
For a batsman, definitely you say that. Batsman, you say that you peak around about 29, and then it depends on your fitness and everything. Fitness, and in this country, form as well, because there's so many options. There's so many people who are pushing for that spot. That happens. But yeah, they say the maturity sets in. I won't say the same for the bowlers, but for batsmen, definitely.
This is the best time.
And looking at somebody like him, I think as far as the Indian cricket is concerned, he's the fittest 35-year-old who's played this format for India, and looking forward to play this as well. The other thing about him is that with his body language, you see that he's enjoying it as well. Yeah. We talked about his 100, but I think very smartly he talked about the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that India is hosting this World Cup, and this is a side which got got everything that you need to win it, and I think he's more focused on that. Along the way, you cannot deny this, that if you achieve those personal milestones, that happens. You talked about birthday. Look at the cricketing calendar. Most of your festivals and everything, you're out, you're away. You hardly spend anything with the family, and half the cricketers will be away for their birthday as well. So whatever happens in the dressing room or the hotel.
And even for Diwali this time around, they're playing a match against Netherlands.
On the 12th.
So,
you can see the international. Ask us about the domestic matches. You're always out on these kind of festivals. You're mostly out, and that's the reason why the bond that you have with your teammates sometimes is just so special, because you spend those time with these kind of friends away from the family, and that bond, that friendship lasts forever. Yeah, you're saying the stage is set, because everybody's saying normally you don't see people playing on their birthday, and especially people like Virat, who's just a little away from as far as that milestone is concerned. So people are saying, all right, that'll be the best birthday gift that he can give to himself, and people are putting little extra pressure on him by saying this, get 100 on this game.
In terms of game fitness, Rika, I think he's the fittest 35-year-old who has ever played the game.
Wow.
Yes,
Ever played the game?
Absolutely. If you look at his game fitness, if you look at the way he constructs his inning, the way he runs,
not even
those
any
singles
Australian
and those
players
doubles,
you can think
no,
of
I don't think so.
I'll say Bevan. I'll try and say Michael Bevan is one of those guys when you talk about fitness, because the awareness as far as fitness is concerned in India, it reached a little late. You needed a superstar to do that, but it was happening.
But in terms of performance, I think Virat Kohli is miles ahead, and the kind of longevity which he has shown in all three formats, which is incredible. And I say he's got so many years ahead of him, and I think his longevity, everybody knows that is going to last longer because of his fitness level, which he has maintained.
Lovely. We will wait for his 100 number 49 and many more years of him blazing the field. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me in the studio at the Tower.